Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today we are jumping right into a movement that's totally changing how we think about knowledge, how we share it, and who gets to access it. We're talking about open educational resources, or OER. You know, this quote from George Bernard Shaw really gets to the heart of the whole open movement. It's such a simple but powerful idea, right? Unlike a physical thing, like an apple, knowledge doesn't get used up when you share it. It actually multiplies. And that exact idea is what's fueling this incredible global push to make information available to everyone. All right, so here's what we're going to cover. We'll start with the big picture, the philosophy of open. Then we'll see how it's shaking things up in research and education. We'll get into the nitty-gritty of the rules of sharing, and then we'll wrap it all up with a really interesting real-world case study from Vietnam. Okay, first up, what do we actually mean when we say something is open? Because I'll tell you right now, it's a word that means so much more than just, well, being free. It's a whole new way of looking at things. So at its heart, openness isn't just some abstract idea, it's a real movement. And the goal is pretty ambitious, to tear down the walls that keep knowledge locked away. It's all about creating a world where anyone, whether you're a student, a researcher, or an innovator, can access information and build on the work of others. Okay, so here's the deal. For something to be truly open, it's got to check a few very specific boxes. It's not enough for it to just be free to look at. First, you need full access to it online. Second, you have to be able to redistribute it, give it away, share it, whatever. Third, and this is absolutely crucial, you need the right to revise and remix it to make it your own. Of course, you always have to give credit where credit is due. And finally, these rights have to apply to every single person, no exceptions. So how does this whole philosophy actually play out in the real world? Let's start with academic research. For years and years, so much of the world's most important knowledge has been stuck behind ridiculously expensive paywalls. This is a huge problem for researchers everywhere, but you can imagine it's an even bigger barrier in developing nations. And that's where open access, or OA, comes in. It's basically the open philosophy applied directly to scientific papers and studies. The idea is simple. If the public helps fund the research through things like government grants, then the public should be able to read it for free, immediately. And not just read it, but use it, download it, and build upon it. So how do we actually get to open access? Well, there are two main paths you can take, the green road and the gold road. With green OA, the author puts a version of their paper, maybe a draft before publishing, into a free online database. It doesn't cost the author anything, but sometimes you have to wait a while for it to become available. Gold OA is different. That's when the final, polished, published article is made free for everyone right away by the journal itself. The catch, often the author or their university has to pay a fee to make that happen. You see how this idea of unlocking research is the perfect setup for what we're really here to talk about? Let's pivot from academic papers to the stuff we use in classrooms every single day. The textbooks, the videos, the lesson plans. This, my friends, is the OER revolution. Okay, so what exactly are open educational resources? Well, UNESCO defines them as pretty much any kind of material used for teaching and learning. We're talking textbooks, videos, software, even entire courses. The key thing is that they're either in the public domain or, more often, they've been released with a special open license. And that license is what gives them their superpowers. So what are these superpowers I'm talking about? They're called the 5 Rs, and they spell out exactly what you're allowed to do. You have the right to retain a copy forever, to reuse it however you want, like in your class, to revise it, maybe translate a textbook into another language, to remix it by mashing it up with other materials to create something totally new, and finally, to redistribute your new creation with the world. It's these 5 freedoms together that make OER such a game changer. Okay, I know what you might be thinking. The 5 Rs sound amazing, right? But isn't this a legal nightmare waiting to happen? How do you manage all that sharing and changing without total chaos? Well, it turns out there's a really elegant and brilliant solution that the whole world has adopted. This really is the million-dollar question. For centuries, the model was all rights reserved, meaning don't you dare touch my work. So how do we build a new system that's simple, standardized, and based on the idea of some rights reserved? A system that everyone can understand at a glance. And the answer is Creative Commons. Think of it like a legal toolkit, or maybe Lego bricks for copyright. It's a set of free, easy-to-use licenses. Everything starts with a BY brick, which just means you have to give the original creator credit. Simple enough. From there, you can add other conditions. NC means it can't be used for commercial purposes. ND means no derivatives, so you can share it, but you can't change it. And SA means share alike, so if you remix it, your new creation has to have the exact same license. By mixing and matching these few simple rules, we get the licenses that power the entire OER ecosystem. All right, so we've got the big ideas, we've got the legal tools, but what does this actually look like on the ground in the real world? To find out, let's zoom in on a case study from Vietnam and see what's working and what isn't. And right off the bat, there's some really great news. The will to share? It's absolutely there. Get this. A survey of educators in Vietnam found that more than 77% are willing to share at least some of their own teaching materials. That shows a really powerful grassroots excitement for the whole idea of OER. But, and this is a big but, enthusiasm alone doesn't get you across the finish line. When those same educators were asked what's holding them back, they pointed to huge systemic problems. A staggering 85% said the problem is a lack of official policy and support from the top. 81% pointed to copyright fears, and 73% said there just wasn't enough cooperation between institutions. The problem isn't the people, it's the system. Let's just pause on that number for a second. 81%. That's more than 4 out of 5 educators who are worried about copyright. This isn't just a minor hurdle, it's a giant wall of fear and uncertainty. It's that nagging worry in the back of your mind that, without clear rules, your hard work could be misused, or someone could sell it without your permission, or you could even end up in some kind of legal trouble. And this brings us to what we can call the OER paradox. And you see it not just in Vietnam, but all over the world. You've got all this incredible potential and energy bubbling up from the ground. Educators who genuinely want to share and collaborate. But that energy keeps hitting these big systemic walls, a lack of clear policies, confusion about the law, and just a general lack of awareness. So it all comes back to where we started. The philosophy of open is powerful, the tools like Creative Commons are ready to go, and the desire to share is very, very real. The question this case study really leaves us with is a crucial one for all of us. If we all agreed that knowledge is meant to be shared, then what's stopping us? What are the walls in our own communities, our own schools, our own countries? And more importantly, what are we going to do to start knocking them down?